Sir, with Naim Qassem recently elected as the successor to Hassan Nasrallah, what implications do you foresee for Hezbollah's strategy and regional influence?
It's clear that Hezbollah is sending a strategic message and clear messages to Israel in terms of domination and control, because the occupation thought that after the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, that the party lost control, but the field battles does not confirm this. So according to my belief, Mr. Naim Qassem also represents a challenge to Israel, because Gallant from the very first moment said that he is the temporary leader of Hezbollah, which means that he will be assassinated as well. In this framework, the matters will be directly escalated. They will never be de-escalated. Talking about Hoxton and the American efforts to stop the war against Lebanon, and even the Israeli talks that the ground offensives will be over in a few weeks. All of these things contradicting what Gallant says regarding the direct threats against Hezbollah, which indicates that there will be an escalation either in Gaza or in Lebanon.
Sir, of course, Naim Qassem, historically seen as a figurehead deputy to Nasrallah without significant military background, now is at the helm of Hezbollah after the assassination of almost the entire senior leadership. Is Qassem, the former chemistry teacher and imam, running Hezbollah for real, or is he just a figurehead secretary general who hides the real leaders behind him?
Indeed, he's a real leader, and Israel thinks that he is a real leader. It's not about who comes after Mr. Hassan Nasrallah. Of course, Hezbollah has leaders, no matter how much they assassinate, and this is clear in the military leadership. There are control, a restoration and recovery from a military perspective, but from a political perspective, this also comes in the history of the Palestinian Revolution, where the leaders were assassinated one after another as well. But the leaders are always generated, or what we call in Palestine, there is a shadow leadership, which means that there are young leaders who come after the real leaders. Before electing Mr. Naim Qassem, there were clear statements that he will continue the path of Mr. Hassan Nasrallah. It's not about the people, because Israel thought that the assassination of Yahya Sinwar, Hassan Nasrallah, or Mohsen, all of these things do not eliminate them, because it's an organization with organizational structure. It's not just a militia. That's why Israel made a wrong calculation. If they assassinate him, they again miscalculate things, because this will have stronger reflections.
Okay, sir, I want to ask you a question here, and your motto and your what you think. Do you think that Iran played a role in the decision to choose a successor to Nasrallah to lead Hezbollah?
I don't think that Iran will interfere who is going to be elected to lead Hezbollah, but in my opinion, Iran helped in restoring the military abilities of Hezbollah and its abilities in general. And there were Iranian leaders helping Hezbollah. Indeed, Hezbollah restored control again. That was clear in the fighting in 5 phases. Fighting in zero space and the targeting of the Israeli tanks invading inside, hitting the close settlements in which the army exists in, and hitting medium goals and striking in the depth. So Hezbollah strikes in 5 ways. It uses drones and missiles and long-term missiles and new weapons, which reflects the help of Iran in restoring the recovery of Hezbollah in a very short time after the major explosions and the assassination of the leaders. When Hezbollah fights and makes great loss to the Israeli army in terms of the killed and injured people in a very short time, while defending the land, I think Iran provided major help. But I don't think they will interfere in who's the leader.
Okay, sir, the Lebanese Ministry of Energy has estimated losses of $480 billion in the energy sector due to Israeli attacks. What do you believe are the long-term consequences for Lebanon's infrastructure and economy?
There is an economic weakness in Lebanon with high level of poverty and political disagreements and disputes. The economy is in a difficult condition. The war deepened the economic crisis not only in Lebanon but also in Israel as well. In Israel, there are losses of $70 billion, and without any American support, the shekel would fall in front of the dollar. And in Palestine, we lost many. And in Lebanon, we lost many buildings. It's a deliberate action by Israel, as well as in Gaza, in order to increase the loss at the humanitarian level and the building level and the infrastructure levels. This is what the occupation done. It's similar to what happens in Gaza Strip to make great losses. In my opinion, Lebanon, with the conference and their movements,
Okay, I think we have a technical problem and we move on with the, of course, sir, are you with us, or are you, Mr. Ahmed Safadi, are you with us?
yes.
Okay, welcome again, sir. Back again to Naim Qassem, which was the highlight, of course, of today among the shelling that took place in Gaza, which was unprecedented, unfortunately. Naim, sir, why did Hezbollah wait this long to declare a new leader to the movement, and did this assassination of Hisham Safieddin, Safieddin, play a factor?
The party cannot stay without a leader, isn't it right? So they assassinated Hisham Safieddin. He was the first elected person to be successor to Hassan Nasrallah. And by this way, the party sends a message that no matter how you assassinate people, there will be leaders and they will not hide their heads. It's a political, security and military challenges. It sends a message that Hezbollah is controlled by a good leader, which increases the spirit or elevates the spirit of the fighters on the ground. It's a message they send that they will continue fighting. They're not afraid of the assassination, according to my belief. This is the message sent by his election when they assassinated the Secretary General of the People Front in Ramallah. They elected another person. So they sent a message that they will continue, a message of a challenge that Hezbollah will never surrender, or any other section, because there is a war against Gaza. They want to create a new de facto in Philadelphia axis and the Rafah cross point. They want to create buffer zones in Gaza.
Sir, because I want to wrap up this segment as soon as possible. The death toll in Gaza has, of course, tragically risen 1,000. In your view, how can the international community effectively respond to this escalating humanitarian crisis? Of course, in response to the United Nations Security Council meeting that we just watched.
I have watched UN Security Council yesterday. That meeting aimed at
the UN today, sir.
Which is an immediate ceasefire and practicing pressure on Israel to allow the medication and food, because the trucks are accumulated in the Egyptian side and they prevent the Egyptian side from entering or delivering the aids. There are international pressure in order to allow the medication and sending the injured people to other Arab countries, in addition to the medical staff that is held detained in Kamal Adwan hospital. So they practice pressure to allow the humanitarian aid. This meeting was very important, but there should be more pressure on America and Israel in order to stop these massacres and this genocide that we haven't witnessed similar to them since 1948.
Mr. Ahmed Safadi, political researcher from Jerusalem, thank you for your insights, and I couldn't thank you better, sir, for your insight and for your informative knowledge.